I'm going to be making some really unique looking knives out of these railroad spikes today. And for that, I've enlisted the help of a man who taught me much of what I know, John Alm, my father. We're chiseling some lines down the portion of the spike that will become the handle of the knife. We're going to do what's called a pineapple twist, and you'll see why we call it that later on. My dad was born in 1950, and this power hammer is 1 year older than him. Spreading out the blade, offsetting it to the handle, and drawing down a long, narrow point. Cleaning it up by hand and bringing that point around the horn of the anvil to make a kind of Bowie knife. And it's kind of hard to see here, but I'm using the corners of the dies to draw out a little bit of material at the base of the blade and a little bit at the back. And that sets me up for shaping that really nice harpoon-style recurve shape over my anvil. Now let's give that handle a quick twist all the way around one time. And chisel down once again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another 4 chisel lines through the twist we already made. And now we untwist it halfway. That's why we forged the blade on backwards to begin with, if you caught that. Straightening up as needed, and we're ready to go to the grinder. We'll show you more of this process in part 2. Just kidding. I know you probably hate it just as much as I do when people do that. Now, these heavy grinding wheels remove material very quickly. In fact, they can be a little too quick sometimes, so I have to be careful to take off just what I want. I'm focusing first on the flat areas in the middle of the blade, sort of sweeping up into the handle areas, and now I'm moving on to the edge bevels, keeping them nice and thick. I don't want any warping during heat treat or any of the other processes that are still left to do on this piece. You can see this is still plenty thick, kind of rough and ugly, some hammer marks in there. I am going to polish the flat section in the middle just a tiny bit more, because what I want to do is kind of frame the bevels of the knife with a pair of deep grooves or fullers in the blade. Now, they can remove weight from the blade, but mainly they just look cool. My biggest challenge here is to make them even on both sides. Now, these thin grinding wheels are really made for precision surface grinding machines, and if used improperly, they can be a bit sketchy. That's why I'm going to make sure they're properly bushed and securely mounted to this state-of-the-art buffer from Harbor Freight. This is really a sculpting job as much as anything, just trying to follow those paint lines, get a couple grooves carved out of that blade. By heating to about 1600 degrees Fahrenheit and quenching in oil, I transform the metallic crystalline structure of the material from austenite to martensite, allowing the displaced carbon atoms in the iron matrix to strengthen the material and make it more suitable for taking and holding a sharp edge. And by repolishing the surfaces now, those grooves we carved earlier stay black, a result of the oxidation from those high temperatures, which makes them stand out and look badass. I'm running several different types of belts on this machine, and you can see it's almost there. Now I'm going to go in on a wire brush wheel and clean up that pineapple twist we did at the beginning of the video. This wheel is made of nylon, and it gives what we call a dull brushed finish. It's the sort of thing they use on surgical instruments, certain types of hardware, maybe even your stainless steel kitchen sink was finished on a wheel like this. Final sharpening and polishing of the edge, And she is sharp. And there it is, a pineapple twisted railroad spike knife. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to see made next on this channel. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.